Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable, always calm, focused, and improving every single day, while others struggle to stay consistent for even a week? It's not about motivation. It's not about talent. It's about habits, the quiet, invisible systems that shape your future more than any single decision ever will. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Every successful person you admire, from athletes to entrepreneurs, didn't just set big dreams. They built small actions, repeated daily until those actions built them back. But here's the challenge. Creating a good habit is easy to say, hard to do. So today, we're going to break it down, step by step, and uncover the 5 most powerful principles that can help you create habits that actually last. By the end of this video, you won't just know how to build good habits, you'll understand how to reprogram your mind and environment so that good habits become effortless and success becomes automatic. Every great change in life begins with something small, a single decision, a single action, a single moment of courage. Yet most people fail to build new habits because they start by setting goals that are too big, too ambitious, and too overwhelming. They want instant transformation, to wake up early, exercise daily, eat clean, meditate, read, and be productive all at once. But human psychology doesn't work that way. Real, lasting change comes from progress that feels so easy, it almost feels effortless. That's the true power of starting small. When you take the first step toward a new habit, your brain goes through resistance. It sees the change as a threat to your comfort zone. The bigger the goal, the stronger the resistance. But when you shrink the goal into something ridiculously small, the mind no longer perceives it as a danger. Instead of saying, I will run 5 kilometers every morning, say, I will put on my running shoes and walk for 5 minutes. This subtle shift lowers mental friction and activates what scientists call the gateway habit, a small behavior that opens the door to greater actions. Later, small steps are not signs of weakness. They are seeds of transformation. Imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts tiny, almost insignificant, but as it moves, it gathers momentum, size, and force. The same is true for habits. Each small repetition builds identity. When you do something consistently, even at a small scale, you tell yourself, I am the kind of person who does this. That identity shift is the foundation of habit formation. You no longer have to push yourself with motivation. You start being pulled by who you believe you are. The most successful people in any field understand this principle. Great writers don't start with a masterpiece. They start by writing 1 paragraph a day. Elite athletes don't begin by training for hours. They start with simple routines and build consistency. What matters is not how much you do at the beginning, but how often you do it. Frequency beats intensity in the long run. Starting small also creates psychological wins. Every time you complete your mini habit, your brain releases a small dose of dopamine, the feel-good chemical, which reinforces your behavior. These micro-victories accumulate, forming a chain of positive feedback. Before you realize it, the habit becomes a natural part of your life. You stop thinking about doing it. You just do it. So the next time you want to build a new habit, ask yourself, what is the smallest version of this habit that I can start with today? Can I meditate for 1 minute? Read 1 page? Do 1 push-up? These may seem too small to matter, but over time they matter more than anything else. Because the truth is, consistency grows stronger than motivation. The people who change their lives are not the ones who make giant leaps. They're the ones who take small steps every single day. Start small, stay consistent, and let momentum do the rest. That's how habits and lives are transformed. Building a new habit from scratch can feel like trying to carve a new path through a dense forest. Slow, difficult, and unfamiliar. But what if there was already a trail waiting for you, one that could guide your next step? That's the power of linking new habits to existing ones, a method known as habit stacking. It's a psychological strategy that uses your brain's existing neural patterns as anchors to create new ones. Instead of starting from zero, you attach your new behavior to something you already do automatically. making the process smoother and far more sustainable. Your brain loves patterns. It thrives on cues and routines. That's why brushing your teeth or making coffee doesn't require conscious thought anymore. These behaviors are stored deep in your subconscious. When you link a new habit to an existing one, you're effectively piggybacking on that established neural pathway. For example, saying, "After I pour my morning coffee, I'll write down one thing I'm grateful for," creates a strong, logical connection between two actions. The old habit becomes the trigger for the new one. This technique works because it eliminates one of the biggest obstacles to building habits: remembering to do them. When you rely on willpower or motivation, your results fluctuate. But when your habit is linked to a consistent cue that already exists in your life, it becomes automatic. You no longer have to think, "Should I meditate today?" Instead, you know that meditation naturally follows after you brush your teeth or finish breakfast. Over time, this pairing forms a powerful behavioral chain, one good habit leading seamlessly into another. The key to making habit stacking work lies in precision and consistency. Be very clear about when and where the new habit will occur. Vague intentions like, "I'll try to read more," don't stick. Specific plans like, "After I sit on my bed at night, I'll read for 5 minutes," create clarity and remove decision fatigue. The more specific your cue, the stronger the link becomes. And just like a chain, the strength of your habit system depends on how well each link connects. You can apply this to nearly every area of life. Want to drink more water? After each bathroom break, drink a glass of water. Want to practice gratitude? After you turn off your alarm, think of one thing you're thankful for. Want to stretch your body? After you finish a Zoom meeting, stand up and stretch for 60 seconds. Each pairing is simple, logical, and consistent, exactly what your brain loves. What's remarkable about this approach is how effortlessly it compounds. Once you've built one successful stack, it becomes easier to add more. A single chain of habits can evolve into a full daily system: your morning routine, your work routine, your evening wind down. This is how people who seem disciplined actually operate. They're not constantly forcing themselves to do the right thing. They've simply designed their days so the right thing happens by default. Habit stacking transforms willpower into structure. It replaces struggle with flow. Over time, the question is no longer, "How do I motivate myself to change?" but "What can I link next?" Every established routine becomes a stepping stone for the next improvement, allowing you to build layers of positive behavior until progress feels natural and unstoppable. In the end, you don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. By linking one habit to another, you're building that system, one small connection at a time. We often think success comes from discipline, that the people who maintain strong habits are simply more determined, more self-controlled, or more motivated than the rest of us. But that's a myth. In truth, successful people are not necessarily more disciplined. They are better architects of their environment. They design their surroundings so that good habits become easy and bad habits become hard. The structure around you silently guides your behavior, often more powerfully than willpower ever could. Your environment constantly influences your actions, whether you notice it or not. The snacks on the kitchen counter, the phone on your desk, the TV remote within reach. Each of these sends subtle cues that shape your choices. That's why trying to build new habits in an unchanged environment is like swimming upstream. You're fighting against a constant current of temptation and distraction. But when you reshape your environment to align with your goals, it becomes a silent partner in your success. Start by making good habits obvious. Visual cues are powerful triggers for action. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow so you see it before sleeping. If you want to eat healthier, keep fresh fruit visible on the counter instead of hiding it in the fridge. When you see it, you'll be reminded to act on it. Conversely, make bad habits invisible. Hide the junk food. Turn off notifications. Move your phone out of reach while you work. Out of sight often means out of mind. The next step is to make good habits easy and bad habits hard. This is called friction design. You're more likely to follow through when a behavior requires less effort. For instance, if you prepare your workout clothes the night before, it's easier to start exercising in the morning. On the other hand, if you delete social media apps or keep your remote in another room, you create just enough friction to discourage mindless scrolling or binge watching. Small tweaks like these can dramatically change outcomes because they reduce the number of decisions you have to make. Your environment isn't just physical, it's also digital and social. The people you spend time with, the accounts you follow, and the notifications you allow all form part of your behavioral landscape. If you surround yourself with people who share your goals, their energy and example will pull you upward. Join communities where the desired behavior is normal, because when excellence becomes expected, consistency feels natural. As motivational speaker Jim Rohn once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." A well-designed environment acts like a compass. It always points you toward the direction of your better self. You don't have to fight to remember what to do. The cues are built into your surroundings. You don't need to rely on bursts of motivation. The design itself keeps you on track. In essence, you turn the world around you into a silent coach, one that constantly whispers, "Do the right thing." The beauty of this principle lies in its simplicity. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just one small environmental change can set off a ripple effect of positive behavior. Move your workspace closer to sunlight to boost focus. Keep a reusable water bottle on your desk to stay hydrated. Arrange your home so that the healthiest, most productive choice is also the easiest one. In the end, habit formation isn't about forcing discipline, it's about removing resistance. When your environment aligns with your intentions, change happens almost effortlessly. Design the space and the behavior will follow. The process of building good habits is rarely a straight line. It's a journey of ups and downs, small victories and temporary setbacks. That's why one of the most powerful tools you can use is tracking your progress, not to judge yourself, but to stay connected to your growth. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets celebrated gets repeated. Tracking habits and celebrating small wins turns an invisible process into something tangible, encouraging you to keep going when motivation fades. Human beings are naturally wired to seek reward. Every time you achieve something, even something small, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation and pleasure. This release doesn't just make you feel good, it reinforces the behavior, signaling to your brain that this action is worth repeating. By tracking your progress, you create consistent opportunities for those dopamine boosts. You see visible proof that your efforts are paying off, even if the results aren't yet dramatic. That's how momentum builds, through positive feedback loops. There are many ways to track progress. You can use a journal, an app, or something as simple as a calendar. The classic "don't break the chain" method, where you mark each day you successfully perform your habit, works because it visually represents consistency. Each mark becomes a mini reward, a sign that you're honoring your commitment. Over time, you become motivated not just by the habit itself, but by the satisfaction of maintaining your streak. Missing one day becomes something you actively want to avoid, not out of guilt, but out of pride. But progress tracking isn't just about counting days. It's about acknowledging growth, no matter how small. When you reflect on what you've achieved, you strengthen your belief that change is possible. You shift your mindset from "I have so far to go" to "Look how far I've already come." That psychological shift is powerful. It transforms the process from a grind into a game, a challenge that feels achievable and rewarding. Equally important is celebrating small wins. Many people make the mistake of waiting for big results before feeling proud. But habits are built in the small moments, the days you show up when it's inconvenient, the decisions no one else notices, the quiet victories you win alone. Celebrate those. Reward yourself in meaningful, healthy ways. A few minutes of relaxation, a favorite activity, or simply saying to yourself, "I did it." Each celebration strengthens the emotional connection between effort and satisfaction. However, celebration doesn't mean perfection. There will be days you miss, slip, or struggle. Instead of punishing yourself, use those moments as feedback. Ask, "Why did this happen? What can I adjust?" Treat yourself as a scientist, not a judge. The goal is not flawless performance, but consistent progress. When you track with compassion and curiosity, setbacks become stepping stones instead of roadblocks. Over time, tracking and celebrating create a self-reinforcing system. You start to crave the satisfaction of progress. You build trust with yourself, a deep sense that you can set goals and follow through. And that trust becomes the foundation for bigger changes. In a world obsessed with instant results, tracking your journey reminds you that success is built one small victory at a time. Every checkmark, every streak, every celebration is a declaration, I'm moving forward. And when you can see your growth, you'll never doubt your direction. Perhaps the greatest misconception about building good habits is that success means never failing. People imagine that those who are consistent never miss a day, never get tired, never lose focus. But the truth is, perfection is not the goal. Persistence is. The key to lasting change lies not in flawless execution, but in the ability to return to your habits again and again, no matter how many times you fall off track. The most successful people in any field have mastered one simple rule: never miss twice. Consistency is what transforms actions into identity. When you show up repeatedly, even imperfectly, your brain begins to associate your actions with who you are. You stop thinking of yourself as someone trying to get fit and start believing, I'm a person who exercises. That shift in identity is far more powerful than temporary motivation. It means that your habits become part of your character, not just part of your schedule. But consistency doesn't mean rigidity. Life is unpredictable. You'll get sick, travel, or face distractions. There will be days when you're too tired, too busy, or simply not in the mood. That's normal. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they respond to imperfection. Successful people don't use failure as a reason to quit. They use it as a reason to start again. Missing one day is harmless. Missing 2 days is a signal. What matters most is how quickly you get back on track after falling off. Think of consistency like brushing your teeth. You don't skip brushing for a week just because you missed one night. You simply brush again the next morning. The same principle applies to any habit. One missed repetition doesn't erase progress. It only matters if you let it become a pattern. Building good habits is less about intensity and more about resilience, the quiet determination to keep moving forward, even imperfectly. Accepting imperfection also frees you from the all-or-nothing mindset that destroys most habit-building efforts. Many people think, if I can't do it perfectly, why bother at all? But excellence is not born from perfection. It's born from repetition. A messy workout is better than no workout. A half page of writing is better than none. Even 5 minutes of meditation still strengthens the habit. Every imperfect action is a brick in the structure of your success. Psychologists call this the self-compassion effect. When you forgive yourself for small mistakes, you're far more likely to recover quickly and continue your progress. Self-criticism, on the other hand, leads to guilt and avoidance. Instead of punishing yourself for missing a habit, talk to yourself the way you would to a friend, with patience, understanding, and encouragement. Habits built on kindness last longer than those built on pressure. Over time, your focus shifts from chasing results to nurturing consistency. You begin to see that showing up matters more than showing off. Progress becomes about who you're becoming, not just what you're achieving. Each repetition, no matter how small, reinforces your identity and builds momentum. And that's the beauty of habit building. The process itself transforms you. In the end, greatness isn't found in perfection, but in persistence. Success belongs to those who keep showing up, the ones who fall, learn, and rise again. Every day you return to your habit, you prove to yourself that change is possible. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. In the end, habits aren't just about what you do every day. They're about who you're becoming. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. Just start small, repeat it, and let time do the rest. Each small action you take is a silent vote for the person you want to be. Every repetition strengthens your belief, and every small victory builds your future. Yes, you'll stumble. You'll feel tired. You'll fail sometimes. But remember, the winner isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who always gets back up. Let each day be a small mark on your journey. A journey of patience, discipline, and belief. Because in the end, every great change begins with one small step.